Hi guys, some of you said that this guy from the channel Excellent Health has similar ideas to mine when it comes to health. I've never seen any of his videos, so we'll see.
Now, obviously, I'm not going to face the camera because I want to look at the sun. See, the first thing you have to do in the morning is you have to see the sunrise. Now, some people believe that you just need to get bright light in your eyes, and so it's fine to go outside when you wake up, and the time at which you wake up doesn't matter. If you wake up at 2 p.m., do you think that's a good idea? The sun's spectrum differs throughout the day, and at sunrise, it's very special. It doesn't have any UVA, doesn't have any UVB, it has a lot of blue, and it has a lot of red. You're supposed to get that exact mix to tell your clock what's happening. Now, if you get some other mix, that also tells your body what time it is. If it's the mix at noon, you get the noon signal. If it's the mix at sunset, you get that signal. Now, why is this important? The reason it's important is because your body has to know what time it is. If it doesn't know what time it is, nothing works, okay?
There is no actual time, but I do understand what he means. Essentially, what he's saying is correct. Not that it really makes that much of a difference. Not to me. Some people live in super cloudy places. They don't even see the sun. It really makes no difference for your everyday life. By the way, I notice a lot of geoengineering.
Nothing works. Internalize that. Your organs have to communicate with each other, and what sunrise does is it syncs all your clocks because it tells the brain clock what time it is, and so all your other cells get the same signal. The liver knows what time it is, and the stomach knows what time it is. Their cell clocks do not differ, and so they work in unison.
Okay, this is a little bit mumbo jumbo for me. Whatever.
Which creates efficiency. This is why your mitochondria don't work, especially in terms of breaking down fat for energy, if you don't see the sunrise. There are studies showing that if you don't see the...
But you can't even see the sunrise in many places. Okay, this makes no sense. Okay, bad start.
The sunrise, you can't break down fat as well.
What, man? What is this even based on? What the fuck is he talking about? Fuck, I was expecting something else. Shit.
So if you don't see the sunrise and you eat carnivore, let's say, and you're having problems, and then you say, oh, carnivore is bad, I ate carbohydrates and it fixed my problems. You realize how many pieces to the puzzle you're missing if you ate a certain way but your light environment was bad? Now it's the 18th of March, and I'm standing shirtless in 2 degrees Celsius. Why is that? Well, I told you to see the sunrise. What system is it that's detecting the sunrise? It's the photoreceptors in the eyes. They convert the environmental stimulus into information in the body so that it can work in unison with the environment. Now, let me ask you a question. Where do we also have photoreceptors? In our skin. So, obviously, I want my skin to get the same input that my...
This again makes no sense naturally. When it's that cold, you would never go without any clothes, protection. He does that because he can go inside afterwards and quickly get warm. But that's why I say, naturally, that's not possible. And it's an abnormal start to the day.
my eyes are getting. Then in terms of the cold, I mean, shame on me if I'm not cold adapted and I live in Sweden. And again, I mean, cold adaptation makes things far easier and far more fun during the colder months. And it's also absolutely necessary. It's the way you adapt to a higher latitude, because obviously at a high...
Yes, but it's stressful, and stress ages you. Should you be trying to adapt to the cold, you should try to protect yourself from it. That's how you protect your health. That's why people do it naturally. You never see any natural drives go out in the cold for fun. They always protect themselves because they follow their intuition. The intuition says, or even the instinct, just hide, protect yourself.
This is raw beef fat. And this comes from 10-year-old cows that are...
Oh, okay. He eats raw meat? Oh, that's why you said that we have similar views, so to speak. Okay, well, that's good.
completely grass-fed, and...
That does look nice. Wow. That is nice.
This is also dry-aged. I am very lucky to have this. This... You cannot find this in many places. This is very, very special. When I buy meat, the protein that is, the muscle meat, I want zero fat. Why? Because I already have fat. So I don't want to pay some ridiculous amount of money just to get, let's say, 10-20% fat. That's a 10-20% loss in protein.
That makes sense, but why does he eat muscle meat? Organs are sometimes even cheaper. Who knows? At the end of the day, the muscle meat is what you would eat if you have nothing else. Actually, you would eat the tough parts if you wouldn't have anything else. But the muscle meat comes right after. It's not the best parts of the animal, not at all.
All right, let's begin now. Now the question is, do you need to eat raw meat? No. The answer is no. It's a tool that you have available in your arsenal. When Cruz first was doing his big experiment with a leptin reset, basically, fixing the energy.
Okay, I'm not surprised at all. He listened to Jack Cruz a lot. Not that he doesn't have some good stuff to say, for sure he does. But the stuff about the sunlight is just a religion. What he said in the morning. It just doesn't make any sense. There's no proof for it. Believe whatever you want to. Believe in Jesus, Buddha, and whatever. But it's the same thing. It's just something that you can never prove. It's a religion. Kind of like metaphysics, basically. Purely a religion. Nothing to back it up. Be part of your religions. As I said, it's whatever. Just don't try to mix it up with health. It just doesn't work. Don't mix it with this physical reality, nature, and biology. Then you're gonna get all mixed up, and you're gonna mix up people's thoughts. You're gonna confuse people. When it comes to health, you have to stick to this physical reality. You cannot mix it with religious beliefs.
Status in his brain, eating lots of seafood, seeing the sunrise, etc., and doing a bunch of cold exposure. He ate all of his seafood raw. Okay, so Cruz knows.
Oh, Jack Cruz does cold exposure. Wow, that's interesting.
Knows about the raw meat stuff. He knew about it long ago, and he figured it out probably based on physics, probably, and also because he wanted to preserve as much DHA as possible. Dr. Sarah Pugh, good friend of mine, God bless her, she also eats raw meat, and she's just experienced personally that it works really well for her. Me, I've been doing it since I was 17. Less than 1 month after turning 17, I started eating raw meat. And I mean, I haven't found any food group that is better, and that's the reason why I eat it. That's all. Based on the physics of water, light, the bioelectromagnetic field that's emitted from living tissues, from living beings, I believe based on those things, this is superior. However, do you need to upgrade? It's a very small upgrade if you look at everything that affects your health, so it isn't particularly important, but once you've mastered your light environment...
He eats raw meat, but really, besides that, we don't really have much in common at all. And he eats the muscle meat. If it was cheaper or something, and he didn't have enough money for food, I could understand, but it probably even isn't. It's probably more expensive than organs. He also doesn't seem really full of energy, life. There's no real happiness that I can detect. He does seem somewhat content. You can kind of sense it distantly, but I'm not getting the raw meat eater vibes from him. Maybe it's because he eats muscle meat with fat only. I don't know what else he eats.
You know, you don't have any mental health issues. You can recognize that something like perfume is toxic. You can recognize all the chemicals that are in our environment, in our homes as well, and you stopped using all these toxic products. Your sleep is good, you're spending a lot of time outside, and you don't have much, and you're also aware of EMF, and you're trying to mitigate that as much as possible. Maybe you've moved locations. After you've done all of that, I think it's okay for you to spend energy thinking about whether you should switch to this or not, or whether you should do an experiment with this or not.
Yeah, it's exactly the other way around. Everybody who went through it knows that eating raw meat is the most important part, by far, for your health. No EMFs, not even sunlight, nothing else comes close to it. You could be happy and even euphoric without sunlight in very dark places for a while if you would eat raw seafood, raw organs. That's not the problem. It's the food always in the first place. Disappointing video. Maybe he doesn't get it because he eats muscle meat with fat.
And currently I'm reading The Vital Question by Nick Klein. Wait a minute, it's flipped around. Let me fix that for you.
For me to read something like this, it would be close to torture. Really. You would have to pay me a lot or something if I would do it as a job. And of course, then still, I would just hate doing it. Yeah.
There we go. This book is about the origin of life, how life emerged, and it's really about how energy is way more important to life, the maintenance of energy, than DNA and RNA.
Ah, man, this is just, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he drinks salt water, really, the way he's talking. The energy, no, man, this is not for me whatsoever. Fuck.
It's between 4.3 and 4.5, so we can say 4.4 degrees Celsius. That's a progress.
Ja, vill du ha den så här?
Nej, jag vill ha det på bältet.
Ja, men du var ju på det.
Hur mår du nu?
Is he actually from Sweden? Where is this guy from? Whatever.
Ja, mannen. Look very beautiful.
Thank you, my friend. The polar bear has returned.
That's actually funny that he said that because polar bears have a really thick fur and fat to protect themselves from the cold. He's doing the opposite of what a polar bear would do if they could. They would never go into the cold. They feel warm, they feel good, comfy. That's how animals like to feel. He's doing the opposite of animal nature.
Oh, brain freeze. Nice to see that we don't have any spraying of the skies today. No planes flying around.
Yeah, totally, man. That's natural clouds in front of the sun. Okay.
I've noticed that there are specific days where I see a bunch of trails. But today,
Yeah, nothing. There's just nothing.
not such a day, thankfully. I ate my first meal at 7 a.m. and now I'm gonna eat my second meal and it's 2:30 p.m. And for me,
Again, fat and muscle meat. It's great that he's eating raw meat, don't get me wrong, but this is not a really good diet compared to eating actual organs and seafood and everything. Yeah, he would, if he wouldn't torture himself with the cold and everything, feel better than most people, but seeing as he does all of that, and he only eats the fat and muscle meat, as far as I can see, it's not surprising really what's going on here. At the end of the day, it's just never gonna be good enough. I know the difference between eating muscle meat and organs. It's not comparable. You enter a different level, a different stage in your life. It's hardly even comparable.
I was wrong about water. Please don't make the same mistake that I made. Because of the popular health practitioner Agenus Wonderplanets.
Oh, of course. He knows about Agenus. Huh. He probably learned about raw meat from me, realistically.
I started to eat a raw animal foods diet. Now, Agenus explained
It's it's basically impossible that he heard about Agenus around me, so to speak, because 99% of people only know about him through me. But whatever.
that because raw food always contains sodium and potassium, magnesium, and usually also calcium, and also a bunch of water, and it digests more slowly than water. Water doesn't need digestion. You won't pee it out. You'll be able to absorb all the water. It has all the correct minerals, and it has nutrients bound to the water, which makes it a great, great hydrator. So I started doing this, and I felt okay, but over time I got chronically dehydrated, and I didn't even know it. See, the problem is that I had to consume raw milk in between meals, but this wasn't enough. You can only consume so much raw milk, and the problem with modern society is that we have pollution, which dehydrates you, and we have a bunch of electromagnetic pollution, which inhibits the water-creating step in the mitochondria, in the fourth complex. In nature, in our optimal environment, you can get away with drinking less water, but in modern society that is not the case, because this environment dehydrates you far more. And so, relying on raw food like an isolated or primitive tribe in a very arid place like a desert, like the people in the Namibian desert or the Australian Aboriginal.
But I just never promoted only eating raw food for liquids. I don't know what he's talking about. I almost never drink water. It's super rare.
Aborigines is practically impossible unless you live in a very remote location. Even if you consume juices and milk in between meals and during meals, that is not a good idea. And the reason is because you need to let your digestive tract rest. You need to let your metabolic system rest. Otherwise, you'll have elevated insulin and glucose levels all the time. And that is a very bad idea. Water is the only thing that will hydrate you without telling your liver and pancreas to produce a bunch of enzymes 20 to 30 times a day. Not all water was created equal. You might have trouble with reverse osmosis water because it's...
But if he takes what Arjun has said seriously, at least somewhat anyway, why would he then not listen about the people in the Philippines who lived to 150 and drank coconut water all the time? That's how they stayed hydrated in the humid, hot weather. Why would it be a problem?
Completely dead, but you won't have trouble with spring or well water. Some believe that cold exposure is stressful and that it will give you dark eye circles and...
Okay. He has 100% watched my videos. Yeah, he got the raw meat from me. That's confirmed. Yeah, obviously it's stressful anyway. You literally just showed a video of you being stressed in the water. That we already saw. I don't know if he's gonna argue about that. That would be delusional. And dark eye circles is gonna make them more prominent, visible. Doesn't mean that it's the only thing that causes them. I've never said that.
Adrenal fatigue. Tell me.
Well, it also adds to it, yeah. It's not the only thing, the main thing that causes it. It depends. If you do it like Wim Hof, maybe, if you overdo it. Most people do it for a minute a day or every few days. That's not gonna do it.
Do the people in northern Scandinavia have dark eye circles?
Northern Scandinavia? No. That's why they have clothes on. Hello? No, is he joking? They literally protect themselves from the cold. Like literally every tribe, civilization ever that lived in the cold. What the fuck, is he joking, man? They never go out without clothes. They keep warm. They do the opposite of what you do. You go into the cold, which no human in nature has ever done. 0 recorded cases. Wow, he just debunked himself. We have no similarities, man, whatsoever. This guy is a little bit nuts.
The Sami people? Do the Nenets people of northern Russia have dark eye circles?
No, because they are never in the cold. Oh my god.
Do the Inuit have dark eye circles and adrenal fatigue? No. These people live in very cold environments, yet they're...
Yeah, yet they never expose themselves to the cold. Think about it. They live in super cold environments, yet they never go into the cold. That says everything. That should make you think. It's like the thing about salt. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he drinks salt water. If the shellfish, the fish themselves filter out the salt. They never let the salt enter their system. Why would the beings that live in salt water not even let the salt go inside of them? And the people who live in the cold never go into the cold. No animal, no human. That debunks your whole idea. Yeah, maybe it's just muscle meat. He doesn't eat any carbs also. Maybe he's just kind of starved. Your brain also then starves. Maybe he just cannot think properly. Just eating raw muscle meat and some fat isn't gonna be the same thing at all. Really, there's a huge difference. Huh.
Perfectly healthy. When Wesley A. Price visited the Inuit of Alaska, he found that they were perfectly healthy.
Yeah, because they were super well nourished, as in development wise, of course, because they ate raw animal foods. What's surprising about that?
Despite the insane weather conditions.
Actually, because of the weather conditions, the harsh climate, they conserve the heat by staying shorter. It does, of course, make a difference. Your environment also changes the way your body looks like.
How could this be? Well, their engines, their mitochondria, are really good at creating heat, and so they can warm themselves up. Now, what does modern
Yeah, exactly, because your body adapts to the climate. Yeah, exactly. What is his point?
society do to us? It completely messes up our engines. Every disease is associated with really bad mitochondria. What does this mean for people living in a cold environment?
Yeah, what does it have to do with the climate? We poison ourselves in more than one way. Is he gonna say that we should be cold, which even those people are not? They don't even go into the cold. A really weird logic. He's trying to draw some kind of conclusions out of nothing.
If you have dysfunctional mitochondria, how are you going to create heat adequately? You won't be able to, and so you'll suffer in the cold. You'll want to bundle up. If you have healthy mitochondria,
Yeah, which literally all of the people that you show do. They have super thick fur. Oh my god. Wow. Wow, this guy's contradicting himself like crazy here.
you can go out in, let's say, 5 degrees Celsius without a shirt on, and you can adapt to that.
You can do it, and you can adapt your body by aging yourself. Yeah, but why would you do that? And there's no need to. You hate it, you don't like it. Why would you torture yourself? It's the same as going to the gym.
That environment, and you can be outside for very long periods of time. Also, when you're adapted and you have really good engines and you do deliberate cold exposure, so you don't fall into a cold lake, but you do it deliberately, your cortisol doesn't rise, or at least it rises very little. While if you're untrained, it rises a lot. So people
Yeah, because it's a shock to the body and you can adapt your body to it. Again, why would you do that? Why would you damage your body to adapt to something that you hate anyway? That's the question. That's what doesn't make sense.
who are adapted to colder environments don't get stressed in the cold. There's a big mental
Yeah, of course. That's common sense. You can adapt to anything. Again, question, why would you?
aspect to this as well.
Alright, I didn't get any answers to my questions in the end, obviously, because he probably couldn't even provide any. I don't know what I expected. Something else. His channel is called Excellent Health. You're gonna have pretty horrible health if you do what he does. The food is good compared to what most people eat. Then again, only eating muscle meat and fat, nothing else. It's great that he eats raw meat, okay, but that cannot last. I also, back when I started eating raw meat, maybe 1 or 2 years in, I experimented. I ate 0 carb for 3 months, muscle meat and fat, but that didn't last that long, only those 3 months. Then I was done. I ate 1 big mango every day, but I also ate a lot of organs before, and then oh, that's interesting. I never thought about it, because after that I actually started eating a lot of organs, and then I switched, yeah, probably because of that, to eating almost only organs. I very rarely ate muscle meat, and the difference was huge. The thing is though, if you eat whatever, let's say what he eats, or a typical diet, you just don't know the biochemical state that you're in. That's okay. I get it. When I was traveling and I only had muscle meat available again, I switched to this different state, and the switching is unnoticeable. You just switch into the state and you don't even kind of remember or feel the way you used to feel. And then I started eating a lot of liver again because I had it all of a sudden. And then it's as if I woke up, wow, I was in the muscle meat biochemical state. Fuck, I was low. And then I'm back to you being euphoric, full of energy. And you kind of just forget it. So think about how it is for most people on earth who drink coffee, eat vegetables and rice. They're completely down. They're just full on miserable and depressed with zero energy all the time. Of course, he's way higher than that, but not even really that much. Maybe it's the cold exposure. I don't get any raw meat energy from him whatsoever. There's nothing. If he would have said that he eats noodles and cooked meatballs, Swedish ones, I would have said, yeah, that's the energy that I sense. It's probably because his beliefs are based on religions more than actual physical reality. It's not based on nature, that's for sure. Thanks for watching.